Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network YouTubes. Appreciate everyone jumping in on a Thursday afternoon. These Thursday shows are always fun because we got Thursday Night Football. I got some college football picks to give out. And today we're talking some NBA with our guy Iggy Gilbert, Fantasy Alarm NBA betting guy. So he's giving us some picks for tonight and just talk about some general NBA betting strategy. And that's Howard Bender jumping in on a Thursday show. Usually we got James Grande here, but we got Howard. What's up, man?
What's going on? Oh, the crowd loves me, man. The crowd loves me. James Grande on diaper duty today, right? New baby at home. He's all by himself. His wife is, off doing something else, and that poor guy is like sitting there with two kids. So I said, let me help you out here. Let me visit with Servo. Let me talk a little Thursday Night Football. And, as far as the NBA talks, I will just defer everything to Iggy because I can definitely say that it makes me very, very happy to have brought Iggy onto the Fantasy Alarm family this year. So super psyched to get a chance to chat with him.
Listen, if you've been reading his NBA bets articles these past two nights with the NBA back, you've been cashing some of those bets because I think last night he hit on his 3-unit play for the New Orleans Pelicans to get the win on the money line, cashed that one, and hit on a couple the night before. So, yeah, he's rolling right now. And, only 2 games on this Thursday night slate, but enough to get some picks from Iggy. And, we'll be leaning on him for some NBA talk. And then, coming up college football. But we got to start with Thursday night football first because we got Buccaneers-Bills tonight for this Thursday night game. Should be an interesting matchup. Even though the Bills are favored here, 9.5 is the spread, 43.5 is the over-under. But we both have, plenty of player props that we got rolling here and should be just, obviously 2 teams with a bunch of star power on both sides, even though the spread isn't that interesting. But maybe we got to pick against this spread. And if you have any of your own bets or picks for this game, definitely throw them in the chat. We always get, a same game parlay from our guy Smokey the Cat. I'm sure he's got one rolling tonight. And any other props or bets you got for this game or anything else tonight, we'll definitely touch on those. All right, Bucs-Bills tonight, Howard. You have an article over on Fantasy Alarm with your best bets, kind of breaking some picks you like for this one. But where are you going with any bets for this game?
So this is an interesting one for the game pick itself. I'm taking Tampa Bay. I'm taking the points. This thing opened up at 10. It got bet down to at 8.5 at one point. Now I see it at 9.5 on BetMGM. So when I look at that and I'm seeing that movement, obviously that's a lot of points. It's a lot of points, and the Buffalo Bills defense has not been strong. They lost Tre'Davious White. They've been dealing with injuries in the secondary. They lost Matt Milano, who's like kind of heart and soul of that linebacking core. So, I do worry a little bit about, Buffalo's defense. Their offense also, listen, it's a tough team to run against in the, in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you know what? I don't hate their cover corners, Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis. I'm not saying they're going to contain Stephon Diggs, but what other weapons do the Bills have? Dalton Kincaid, because now Dawson Knox is going to be out. He's in play. I don't like Gabe Davis. I'm not a Khalil Shakir fan at all. So I'm leaning on the Bucs covering this spread. And I think it stays under because I think we've got, the Bucs defense can do a good job against the Bills. I don't think the Bills steamroll them in any way, shape, or form. And I think the Bucs can at least keep it close. If not, give me a backdoor cover at the end.
And you also like the under on this game too?
Yep. I'll take the under on that. I don't love it. I mean, the over under, it's the over is 4-3 on Thursday night games this season. So it's not really giving you a whole lot. So I'll bank on some decent defensive play here. And that's where I'm going to go.
couple of trends to kind of back your picks there. You mentioned the over/under trends for Thursday Night Football, but primetime games this year have gone 16-7 to the under this season, and 60% to the under over the past 3 years. So these primetime games, I feel like we've mentioned this most of the year, not just Thursday Night Football, but just kind of these night games, just a little tighter, a little lower scoring than you might think, and everyone, it might be leaning towards the over just in general because they want to see some higher scoring games, see some offense, but the under has been the more profitable way to go for these games. And then Josh Allen too. I found this interesting, kind of diving through some against the spread trends for him. In his last 5 games after he plays the Patriots, which we just saw them lose last week. It's always a hard-fought game against the Pats. He is 0-4-1 against the spread in his last 5 games right after facing the Patriots. So interesting trend there. That's the Bills and Josh Allen, obviously, but over the past couple of seasons now. So yeah, just I do think the points are just a little too many, especially for a primetime Thursday night game. Both teams coming off a short rest, short week. I do feel like it's not going to be a blowout win for the Bills here. So I think this spread is also just the prime backdoor cover. Late second half score for the Bucks to get in and cover the spread. So I'd go the Bucks way if I was going to pick on this one. I just got 2 player props for this game that I'm rolling with. The first one, Stephon Diggs. I like him to have a nice bounce back game. He was held, pretty much held in check last week against the Patriots. But this season he's had 100 plus receiving yards in 5 of 7 games. And last week, he only had 58 yards on 6 catches, but he was still targeted 12 times. This Bills, we've talked about this Bills offense where Diggs is by far the top weapon, the top target when they go to the air. And it's even more the case now with Dawson Knox out on IR. Dalton Kincaid should probably get a boost up, but the Bucs this year have been pretty solid against tight ends. So I feel like they might hold Kincaid. They know Kincaid has to be involved. I feel like they're going to try to game plan to make sure that he doesn't beat them. But the Bucs secondary, their pass defense has been, the 6th worst in the NFL in terms of passing yards allowed per game this year. And we've seen multiple top wide receivers have big games against the Bucs this season. We saw Justin Jefferson, 150 yards, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 124 yards, A.J. Brown, 131, DJ Moore, 104. I think this is a 100-plus yard game for Diggs, and I see this line at 85.5. It's actually, I just looked at BetMGM now, down to 84.5. I still like the over either way. I just don't see how he's held in check this year. And I don't know if you saw the tweet. I threw it out. If you look on Fantasy Alarm, I gave out this same prop for the NFL underdog picks for tonight's game, but I threw the tweet in there. But Stephon Diggs, he tweeted out after he was kind of held down last week after the Bills lost against the Patriots, and he tweeted out, "I ain't gonna lie, I do be feeling a little bad when I F up your parlay or fantasy." So he knows. He probably heard it. He's been hearing the people talking in his mentions that he let some people down. I feel like on the national stage, prime time, he's going to want to ball out here and show everyone that he's still one of the top receivers in the NFL. So, yeah, give me Stephon Diggs, bounce back to go over this receiving yards.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I definitely do. I think it's, it's kind of where you have to go. The Bills don't really have anybody else. And, I think that's just, like I said, I like Dean and I like Davis as corners. They're just not going to be able to contain Stephon Diggs, even, because you don't want, you don't want to float too much safety help over that way, because Antoine Winfield is the reason why you're a little sour on Dalton Kincaid. If Winfield is watching over him, you don't want him floating over there and covering Stephon Diggs. They could float some safety help though over and just double cover him, because what's the rest of that receiving core? So I could dig that over for Diggs. I'm in.
It's Gabe Davis and Kincaid basically outside of Diggs. So
terrible. I love Mike Evans over 58.5 receiving yards. It's -115 on BetMGM. No Tre'Davious White. Again, it's a tough secondary. It's not a tough secondary. It's tough that the secondary is missing pieces the way they are. So, I think that Baker Mayfield is just, he's locked in on Mike Evans. I think this is a very, very, very reachable number for him, 58.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I like that one too. And if the spread is telling us something that the Bucs might be trailing, they're going to be passing more. So I like the over for him. If you want to look at Godwin too, but yeah, Evans for sure.
You want some more?
I'll go with my next one
Yeah,
and then let you go with yours. So the game script, I was just talking about the spread. If the Bucs are passing more, this doesn't totally favor this bet, but I'm going Rachaad White over 46.5 rushing yards. It was at plus money on BetMGM. I just see, this Bills defense, they losing Matt Milano is huge, especially for the rush defense, losing their middle linebacker. They also have, obviously Tre'Davious White is out, a couple other injuries. Ed Oliver, their D tackle, questionable here. Von Miller's been, slowly getting back on this Bills D line. So the Bills rush defense isn't as strong as you might think. They're allowing 128 rushing yards per game this year, 23rd in the NFL. And this is actually the best rushing matchup that Rachaad White and the Bucs have faced this season. They've faced some really good rush defenses. The Eagles, the Lions, Bears, Falcons, all in the top 10. Saints, Vikings, their other opponents are in the top 15. So this is by far the easiest matchup that White will get. And he's only been over this line in 2 of 6 games this season. So I get why it's low because his totals have not been there. But I just think that they're going to want to get White going and kind of exploit that matchup against the Bills defense that, in recent weeks since Matt Milano has been out, they've allowed some opposing running backs to go for, 70-plus yards, some bigger games in these last few weeks. Travis Etienne went for 136 against them. Saquon went for 93. And White is the guy getting carries, getting early down carries. It's behind him, Keyshawn Vaughn, Sean Tucker have not really carved into his rushing workload this season. It's White getting the carries in this offense. So this line's low, and I know why it's low, but I still like the over for Rachaad White to get, hopefully, 50-plus rushing yards here.
I wouldn't mind that. I was actually talking earlier that I was kind of looking at his receptions prop also. It's like 3.5. And I was looking at the over on that one there as a distinct possibility. But
I looked at his combined rushing and receiving yards prop too, because he's been used as a receiver, as a pass catcher out of the backfield plenty this year. So I wouldn't mind that one too.
I definitely would not mind that at all. I don't have a Rachaad White prop for you here, but what I do have for you, Servo, I can go with, how about this? We'll stay with Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen has thrown an interception in all but one game this season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have 6 interceptions on the season. That's probably like, I don't know, 5th or 6th most in the NFL right now. Josh Allen, over half an interception. You're going to give me that plus money? Give me that plus money. I will take it. Thank you, BetMGM. Plus 100, even money. Josh Allen to throw an interception. Like I said, Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield. Somebody's picking him off. I don't know where it's going to happen. Maybe it'll happen at the very end of the game. Whatever the case may be, he's throwing a pick, and I'm cashing on that.
Listen, if you were watching on Monday's show and you saw Howard Bender give out Kirk Cousins' interception prop, that cashed on the first drive of the game on Monday night.
His first throw.
His first throw.
It cashed.
So yeah, this is it bodes well. You got the interceptions, an eye on the picks here. By the way, over on the YouTube chat, we got Ethan Quimby chiming in. Says he's a big fan of Rachaad White over 12.5 rushing attempts tonight, covered in 6 of 7 games this season. I like that too. Yeah. I mentioned he's going to get the carries over Vaughn or Tucker. He's the guy getting those touches when the Bucs are looking to run the ball. And, he's good track record of going over. His that might be a safer play than the rushing yards because his yards per carry this year are not great, but he is getting the touches at least. So, yeah, good call on that, Ethan.
Yeah, what I like about that also is that you can run on the Bills. 120, giving up about 120 rushing yards. I think it's 118.5 per game. They've also given up like 8 or 9 rushing touchdowns on the season. That's not good. So I like that one there, Ethan. That's a great bet. Great bet.
What else you got going, player prop?
Oh, I got a little of this. I got a little of that. How about an under? Can I give you an under? Let me give you an under. James Cook. Right. Under 72.5 rushing and receiving yards. I know he gets some decent passing work there, but Latavius Murray takes it between the tackles. I don't really see a whole lot of outside zone running here for Buffalo. They'll try it, but I'm just going to take the under on his rushing and receiving yards. I think this is more of like a Josh Allen. What happens when the Bills lose? I think you were the one who talked to me about this. When the Bills lose, Josh Allen ends up like trying to carry the team on his back the following game. So I think you were talking about like his pass attempts, the game after, or his rushing yards, the game after.
Rushing yards, yeah.
So I'm gonna say that it's gonna pull from Cook here. So under 72.5 rushing and receiving yards, it's minus 115 on BetMGM. And then here you go, the tackle monster bet, right? Coop loves this bet. I love this bet. You love this bet. Terrell Bernard, linebacker for the Buffalo Bills, over 8.5 tackles plus assists. I mean, you look at this guy's numbers for the last, I don't know how many games. It's like double-digit numbers, and you're still keeping it at 8.5 tackles plus assists. Minus 130 on BetMGM. If you don't want to just bet it straight up, throw it into a parlay with the rest of this stuff and enjoy.
I'm surprised that tackle number is so low for him.
Me too.
What's
cool. That saying, huh?
By the way, on your under for James Cook, Josh Allen, if you want to look at his rushing yards prop, because I did mention that, games going back, last couple years, games after the Bills lose, Josh Allen really tries to do a lot with his legs. And his rushing yards prop over on BetMGM just at 23.5. I would look to the over on that. Wasn't going to give that one out, but I would look to the over on that one because, or if you want to look at his rushing attempts, it's at 5.5, which kind of accounts to if the Bills are winning and maybe he takes a couple knees at the end of the game or at the end of the half. You can kind of bake that one in, but I do think he might be trying to use his legs a little bit more and kind of do more on his own, especially, with Dawson Knox out. If first and second reads, if Diggs is covered, if Davis or Kincaid is covered, then he could be looking to run and scramble a little bit more. I don't mind that one.
Feats don't fail me now.
By the way, tonight, as usual, the BettorCast app is rolling. We're gamifying Thursday Night Football, so you can check out Moose and Keith's game preview of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Buffalo Bills. Then compete in our free contest by answering pregame questions, which are now live in the BettorCast app. And then during the game, predict what will happen. Live stats, live questions, test your NFL knowledge, chat with fans and our experts at Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network about all the big plays, top performers, and busts. No purchase or subscription necessary. Always free to play. You can win tickets and redeem them for real, authentic NFL signed gear and collectibles. Download the free BettorCast app in the Google Play or Apple app stores, or scan that QR code right there on the screen. Must be at least 18 years of age or older. All right, before we talk some NBA, got to give some college football picks out here. And we're talking college football week 9. This is Saturday's games. We got games actually tonight, tomorrow, but Saturday we got a full slate here. And starting out with the BettorEdge contest pick, because this is me on Saturdays, Howard. If you want to come on over.
Look at you.
I don't know if Maryland will be on my screen because Maryland's not the best team to watch these days, but we'll be watching some college football on Saturdays. And as usual, every week we got this BettorEdge contest. Awesome, free to enter. You just download the BettorEdge app if you haven't already. But this contest, the Servo 7 contest, you got about 20 or so games. You just pick the over-unders, pick 7 of those over-unders. Don't have to worry about spreads. Don't have to worry about winning, who's going to win games outright. Just pick over or under on 7 games. And one of my picks for this one, my top pick, is the BYU at Texas. I'm going with the under 51.5 in this one. It's actually down at some sports books, down to like 50.5, 50. But over on BettorEdge, it's at 51.5. I just like the under. So Texas is coming in. Their quarterback Quinn Ewers, he's out. He's doubtful to play, but he's likely out. He suffered a injury last week, and he's supposed to be out for the next couple weeks. So they got their backup Malik Murphy under center, who has a lot of talent, but he's a freshman. It doesn't have a lot of experience running this offense. I see the Texas offense just being very run heavy because they have a very good offensive line, one of the best in the country. A really good running back, Jonathan Brooks, running behind him, who's been a stud this year, a workhorse for them. So on the Texas side of things, and they're big favorites here. You can see the spread on the screen, 19-point favorites. They're going to want to control this game, just lean on the run and control the game flow, not let BYU beat them or keep this close. And I think on the defensive side, the Longhorns are going to limit this BYU team that's has to go on the road here into Texas. But also a BYU offense, in terms of total offense of yards this year, they're dead last in the Big 12. Newcomers to the conference, and it's just a little bit of growing pains. That they have a good record. You can see 5-2 record, but they have not faced a team as good as Texas yet. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a wake-up call, especially on the offensive side. And this year, Texas 5-2 to the under this season in their games, and the only 2 overs came against the 2 best teams they've played, when they played Alabama and when they played Oklahoma. But when they've played a significantly worse opponent like we have in BYU here, they control the game, especially on the defensive side. Their offense isn't looking to light up the scoreboard. They're just looking to get out with a win. Their season high in terms of points scored this year is only 40, which is surprising for like a top 10 team. Usually we see like a 50, 60-point game, but that's not been Texas this year. They lean on that run game and just really control the outcome start to finish. So I feel like that's happening here. So I like the under in this game.
Beautiful. Can I ask you a quick question here? It's completely unrelated to this, to college football in general, but this is more about a logo. Like right below me, right below my name here, right below Rotobuzz guy. Is that really the Longhorns logo, or is that a uterus? Because I know that our producer, Adam Bernard, is married to an OBGYN, and maybe there was like a file crossover here or something like that. Does that not look like a uterus to you?
I mean, that's what came up in the Google search for Texas Longhorns logo, and that's what it's looked like postseason. So we went with it. I mean, it does resemble a uterus. But...
It does, right? The little fallopian. Oh, wait, they're right here, right? These are fallopian tubes right here. It goes right down to the urethra. I don't want to get into the anatomy here, but all right. You know what? Let me ask you some actual college football questions here, Servo, because there's some games going on out here. I'm out on the West Coast, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I want to know about the Oregon Ducks. One of my closest friends, her son goes to Oregon, and he's telling me that I've got to bet. He's like, you got to take the Ducks against Utah. You got to take the Ducks against Utah. So he's telling me that. And then here, like basically in my backyard, you got California, University of California at Berkeley, matching up against USC, which, I mean, everybody loves USC, don't they? So 2 games there. Are either one of those worth betting for me?
Yeah, I'll start with the Oregon one. I'm with on the Oregon side here. Take the Ducks and as the favorites here, even though it's on the road against Utah, and Utah does have one of the best, home field environments and home field advantages in the country. I do agree with that, but Oregon's well battle tested on the road this year. 2 weeks ago, we just saw them play and probably could have won and should have won against Washington in that big game. That was on the road. They went on the road and survived at Texas Tech earlier this year. That they have been battle tested on the road. I don't think they're going to be scared of that. And I just see Oregon as just a tier above Utah, in my opinion. I know that both these teams, you can see the rankings and the records, both very close, I guess at first glance. But Oregon is a legit national title contender, and this is their toughest matchup remaining on their schedule. I know they have a game against USC, but that's not as tough in my eyes for sure. But this is a game where they need to win this, and they need to really get a good win. to really move on and have a chance to get back to the Pac-12 title game rematch against Washington and earn their way to the college football playoff. And this is the test they have to get past. And I think they're going to be up and ready for it. And I worry about Utah's offense because the last two games, they just pulled off an impressive upset over USC last week. But USC's defense is terrible. Oregon's defense is legit. This is a top tier defense in the country, and it's going to be very tough for Utah to, I think, keep pace, move the ball effectively. The tape is out on how Utah has been kind of making things work in recent games with their starting quarterback Cam Rising now out for the season. He's been out all year, but they've been kind of like making do without him, using different guys. They got a safety who's now transferred over to the running back spot and using him as one of their explosive guys. But I think the tape is out on how this offense is kind of, making things work. And Oregon's going to come in ready. So, yeah, I like Oregon to get this convincing, cover the spread. It's at 6.5, which I like because if we get a 7-point, touchdown win for Oregon, we get the win. So, yeah, I'm on Oregon here. And then the Cal USC game, give me the underdogs. Give me the home dogs with Cal. USC, I worry about them because they've now lost their past two games against Utah and Notre Dame. And I think the national title hopes are basically gone. The Pac-12 title hopes are gone. The college football playoff hopes are gone. I wonder about the motivation, the mindset of this team right now, honestly, because you got guys like Caleb Williams, but other guys that are already probably looking towards the NFL, considering their draft stock, maybe not trying to get hurt, not trying to play too hard. Head coach Lincoln Riley has been, a little interesting candidate to maybe go to the NFL now that he's had a disappointing season here at USC. He weirdly missed practices this week with an illness. It's reportedly an actual illness, but there was some murmurs and rumors that is he really sick? What's the deal here? Because they just lost to Utah. What's going on here? The vibes around USC are just, I don't love them at all. And Cal comes in, they're coming off a bye week, which I think is huge because they made a switch a couple games ago to their freshman quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. I think it's huge for him to just get another week of prep and comfortability in this Cal offense. And he's going against the USC defense. I mentioned they're terrible. They're bad against the run. They're bad against the pass. It's now cost them 2 wins. And it's allowed multiple other teams to hang around. They allowed Colorado to hang around against them and cover the big spread. They've allowed multiple teams to cover spreads this year, especially as big favorites. And I just think that the tape is out on how to exploit this USC defense. And I think the extra week of prep is huge. Last year, by the way, we had USC beat Cal in a 41-35 game. It was a high-scoring, close game. USC barely survived. Honestly, I think something similar is coming because, we can see the total on the screen, 67.5. It's going to be a higher-scoring game, but I think there's going to be plenty of possessions, especially late, for Cal to make this interesting, Cal to keep it close. And California, by the way, has been very good as a home underdog over the past few seasons. With head coach Justin Wilcox, this is just kind of a spot where he gets his teams ready to go as underdogs. And he has a 65% win rate against the spread as an underdog since he's been at Cal. He just knows how to, make things interesting when he's in this spot. So, yeah, give me Cal to keep it close here against USC.
Right on, dude. Right on.
And our producer, Adam Bernard, pointing out that this is, USC Cal, in-state rivalry matchup. This is the last Pac-12 version of this we're going to get as conference rivals for these teams. So, yeah, a little motivation for Cal just to maybe get that last ever, conference win over USC.
All right. Let's see. Any other games you got? I'm looking to build on this.
Yeah.
You got any more?
So, by the way, on Fantasy Alarm right now, I have 2 best bets posted there. You get that Fantasy Alarm All-Pro subscription. I got a pick for the Cincinnati-Oklahoma State game, and then one other game there, the Clemson-North Carolina State game. So, see where I'm leaning there. Yeah, scan that QR code, get the All-Pro subscription if you haven't already. Get the picks for those. But 2 others real quick. Give me the over in Georgia, Florida to this weekend. 47.5 is the over under there on BetMGM. This is a series, this rivalry, Georgia, Florida. We've seen some high scoring games between these two teams. 4 of the last 6 games between these guys have gone over this total, including 62 in last year's game, an average of 53 total points over these past 6 years. I get why this total's low, because on the one side we have a Georgia offense. They just lost Brock Bowers, their stud tight end, one of the best players in the country, to injury, and he's out for the next few weeks to a month. And you might think you got to downgrade the Georgia offense, but that's going to lead to more downfield throwing. They're going to want to get some of their explosive playmakers now more involved, especially not knowing how long Bowers is going to be out. And this is a good spot to really open up the playbook for the quarterback Carson Beck, who they've been starting to get him, have him throw more, be more comfortable under center in his first year as the starter there. And he's been looking the part. He's been, very impressive there. So I see Georgia coming in offensively, just trying to, put up a big number and make Florida, match them, because you can see the spread here. Georgia 14.5-point favorites. And the Florida defense, they just gave up 39 to South Carolina last week. Also gave up the 33 points to Kentucky 3 games ago. I just see the Georgia offense doing its thing here. The Georgia defense, it's not as dominant as recent seasons as you might think. So there is ways for Florida to beat them, especially with this game being it's in Jacksonville, Florida at the Jaguar Stadium. So that's the big game environment. I feel like there could be some explosive plays on both sides, and trends for both these teams. Georgia coming in 4 straight games to the over, Florida 3 straight games to the over. So I like the over in this game. And then the last one here, this is maybe out of left field, but I just have a vibe on this one. Marshall going to the Sun Belt Conference here. Marshall -4 on the road at Coastal Carolina. And this is basically, I see Coastal Carolina. They just had their quarterback, Grayson McCall, one of the best, veteran quarterbacks in the country. He's doubtful. He got hit hard last week. He had to go to the hospital. He's doubtful to play this week, looking very unlikely to play. I doubt he goes. And if you look back at the past 2 seasons, because Grayson McCall's been there for 4 years now, in the past 2 years when McCall's been out, Coastal is 1-3 against the spread when they have to put their backup in. They're just a little bit of a different team without the veteran playmaking mindset of McCall in there. So I think Marshall is going to get them here. They're rightful favorites, I think, on the road, and I think they can win by at least a touchdown. They're coming off of 3 straight losses, by the way, are Marshall. And I just think it's time to get back in the win column for them after they started the year 4-0. So I feel like there's a good spot for them to get right, get a win, even though it's on the road. I think they're just going to take advantage, especially because Coastal Carolina has one of the worst pass defenses in the country, 110th out of 133 in terms of passing yards allowed per game. So I think that's a spot where Marshall can exploit and maybe build out a double-digit lead at some point. But the 4-point spread, I like Marshall to cover there.
Go Thunder and Herd, baby. Come on.
We are Marshall. All right, so that's some college football picks for Saturday's slate. Let's get to some NBA now, because we got our awesome NBA expert over at Fantasy Alarm, Iggy Gilbert, in here. Let's bring him in now. What's up, Iggy? I think you got to turn your camera on, FYI, if you can hear me or see us. But yeah, Iggy Gilbert. You can follow him at IDP_Iggy on Twitter there. If you've seen the last 2 days, he's been pumping out some NBA betting articles over at Fantasy Alarm, and you've probably cashed on a couple of those because he hit on the New Orleans Pelicans money line 3-unit play last night for us. He hit on some bets on Tuesday night when the opening night games were going on. So Iggy's been rolling for us. Iggy, can you hear us? And if you can, you got your camera to turn on?
Yes.
I guess we don't have Iggy here.
Don't have Iggy.
Okay.
Iggy! Iggy! Come on, man. This dude was a great pickup here for the Fantasy Alarm team. Would love to know. I'm just gonna go to his best bets article right now.
But while we're waiting to get Iggy back, just got some comments in the chat here. Ethan Quimby says this was from earlier. It says he's backing up Howard's pick. Josh Allen has 1+ interceptions in 4 of 6 Thursday night games in his career. Interesting trend there. I didn't realize that. So Thursday night, Josh Allen does not like playing on Thursday night. He's throwing a pick in 4 of the last 6 Thursday night games. So interesting there.
I mean, he's aggressive, and there's nothing wrong with being aggressive. I don't care if my quarterback throws a pick, I'm not like, I mean, as long as it's not like, to shut down the game, right? I mean, I'm not like, gonna be against that, but I mean, listen, guys throw picks, and I'd like him to be, a little bit on the aggressive side there. So I don't mind it at all.
So I don't think Iggy has an NBA bets article tonight.
He does. There are only 2 games here. So
yeah, only 2 games. I do have a pick I'll throw out because I was looking at some stuff earlier, and prepping for Iggy to come on there. Here we got Iggy now.
Look at that.
All right, living in the mountains problems, I guess that happened.
No, listen, we're glad to have you on. I don't know if you could hear us earlier, but we were just praising how you nailed the Pelicans win last night, hit their money line on the Fantasy Alarm Best Bets article. So awesome call on that. You hit on some opening night bets as well, but yeah, how's it been going the start of NBA season?
Man, NBA's been great to me. Got me out of that MLB college football slump I'm in. I need to be listening to you more, Dan. Apparently you're the guy right there for college football, but I'm so thankful it's back. I live in Colorado, so it's a different kind of high out here with our Denver Nuggets taking us to new ground out here. But NBA's always been good to me. I've returned positive units the past 2 years along with football, and I love it. It's very entertaining for me. I love betting on it, and I love making the bookies pay, man.
Awesome. So yeah, if people have been reading your articles the last 2 nights over on Fantasy Alarm, they've seen your work. They've seen you cash on some of these bets. Tonight though, we only got 2 games here. We'll start with the first one. We got Sixers against Bucks. Any bets? Any props for this game? A lot of storylines on both sides of the game here, but anything you like in this one?
I think what is kind of like they're not anticipating yet, the bookies, is the switch that we have from Drew Holiday to Damian Lillard. This is going to go from a defensive-centric team with an old coach to a new coach with Damian Lillard and Giannis and being very offensive-centric, okay? I think that's going to be their path going forward. And I think the over, if you want a straight bet, is okay bet on this, okay? The over-under line, you can take it at 227, but what I've done is I've teased it down, honestly, because I couldn't get a rebound line on my guy Giannis, and I same game parlayed it. I love Giannis rebound line. Joel Embiid is good. He's got good effort, but what they like to do is put Lopez out. They stretch Lopez out of the perimeter. He shoots a lot more threes than your traditional center, so this is going to open it up for Giannis, who is a power forward technically, to come in and get these rebounds, okay? So I've teased down Giannis's rebounds. I had it at 12 earlier. I couldn't find the line on MGM right before the show, but it's at 10 rebounds and over 219.5. That's still coming in at -125. I placed a unit on that.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very, very nice. Iggy, let me ask you a quick question here before we get to the Suns-Lakers game, because I'm not a hoops guy, not by any stretch of the imagination. But you know what? There are times where I do like having a little skin in the game. Do you have like general strategies as far as how you bet the NBA, or is this just a matter of you really need to know the game and stay in your lane, Bender? You bet what you know, and you don't know hoops.
Well, no, I mean, I think, I blind bet on the Padres and Rockies all the time. It doesn't do me well sometimes, but you go with it how you want. One advice I gave in the best bet article in the first one, definitely have a goal and have your unit and, all your standard things, but look at the rebounding line at 9.5. I love watching on the big man. There's only so many of them in the NBA. And a lot of times you'll get a 9.5 rebound line. And you can go look at the double-double. Of course, use all the data that's available to you. Are they hot right now? The team are they going against? Is the center good? All these things matter, but you can get a double-double or 9.5. And it's weird. You would think they would be almost automatic all the time for the double-double to be the plus, but sometimes it's the 9.5. Sometimes you get great money on that double-double if you think they're going to get 10 points, which most of the time if a center gets 10 rebounds, he's usually getting some putbacks as well. Okay. So that's one advantage I like to take a look at. But, you know, I always stress bet on what you know. If you live on the East Coast and you're watching a lot of Knicks and Celtics and Washington, and you're getting a lot of radio and you're just getting a lot of feedback from media, from Fantasy Alarm out there, check it out. You know, bet what you know. I'm in the West. The West is best to me. That's where I spend a lot of my time betting because I know those players better. I listen to the radio, the local radio. I can hear that when I'm at the grocery store or hanging out with friends. I just know the conference better. So that's where I like to put my faith in. Go with what you know. Some people don't like to bet on their teams. I think that's a bad philosophy because you know more about your team than anybody else.
See, he says double, and all I'm thinking about is In-N-Out Burger. And I'm like, okay, I can bet on that. I can bet on the fact that I'll be in the bathroom 10 minutes after I finish my food. So, okay, great. I will bet on that. Thank you, Ig.
Sure, but especially if you eat the sauce, you know, that's double duty, especially.
Literally.
Iggy, I got to ask you about one prop or one player in that Sixers-Bucks game because I'm a Philly guy from the Philly area, so I'm well aware of the situation with James Harden. I'm well aware that there was a lot of talk about Tyrese Maxey being in a possible trade for Dame Lillard, but with Harden out, I feel like this is a really good spot for Maxey, especially as you mentioned, without Drew Holiday, and it's Dame Lillard now. You know, as a definitely a worse defender, you know, probably guarding Maxey at times. I feel like this is a good spot for Maxey. Do you have any, you know, thoughts on his props, you know, like points or points and assists, any of those?
Yeah, I don't have his points line, but I'd be willing to go with it because he, when Harden set out late in the second half last year of the season, when Philly kind of had things wrapped up, Maxey started going off. I mean, he was taking a lot of shots inside the perimeter, getting a lot of high volume shots with Embiid dishing and going. So I think Maxey's good. I think I almost took Tobias Harris's assist with Harden not dribbling and, you know, doing so much solo ball. There's going to be a lot more passing, and Harris loves to feed it to Embiid on the swing pass back to Embiid, little bucket. And it's at 3.5 and plus money. But I do think Maxey's going to have a great night. I don't have his line off in front of me, but I think 20 points is well within reach for him tonight.
His points over on BetMGM is 22.5, so maybe a little high, but you know his I'm looking at his points and assists, or points plus assists plus rebounds is 30.5, so maybe that's a safer one. But all right, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if they're in like a catch-up mode and his minutes go up due to this, 22 is very achievable as well.
Yeah.
Iggy, let's talk Suns Lakers. Any game bets on that? Any props that you like a lot?
Yeah, in fact, if I was going to write my best bets today, it was going to be this bet. Yusuf Nurkic over 8.5 rebounds. Look, he had that in the first half against Golden State. Granted, that's Golden State. Their lineup's not as big as Los Angeles, but he was traded for DeAndre Ayton for one specific reason. Get rebounds, kick it out to Booker. Get rebounds, kick it out to KD. Get rebounds, kick it out to Gordon. Like, that is his role in this offense, which Ayton did not want to do. So he's going to have this problem. I mean, AD, you saw it. He got very pedestrian. I don't know if it was the thin air up here in Denver, but he was tired in the second half. He didn't even get a point. So I do expect a better game there, but Nurkic looked like he was in great shape. Philosophy. Frank Vogel's a very intensive coach, very, hustle. I'll get you your breaks whenever you need them. And I think 8.5, I mean, he had 14 last game. So I feel like this is stealing. That's at -135 over at MGM. I also like the Lakers first quarter. They come out with a lot of steam. You saw it against Denver. Their first 8 minutes or so were pretty good. They took out LeBron. Guess what happened? They started to lose all that momentum. But I think the Suns, without Booker, without Bill, they're going to have some dysfunction, kind of getting the rhythm right. Oh, KD, are you going to run the point? Who's going to run this point? The Suns don't have a point guard already, right? So I think that – and the Lakers will do it. It's at -165. So, if you don't like those odds, I understand it. But I put a full unit on that. And if you're feeling frisky, just go ahead and put LeBron James over 19.5 points. Yeah, he's on a restriction minutes, but he went over that against Denver. He's going to be at home. There's not really anybody that's going to be able to play defense against him too well over there on the Suns. So I like LeBron. I mean, he is the leading scorer of all time. So you think he should be able to cover this 19.5 points.
Yeah, you'd think so. I love that Lakers first quarter bet because I think it was yesterday. I was considering Lakers money line, and then when the news came out that Booker's out and Beal obviously, but when Booker was ruled out, that spread got really shot up, and the money line was way too rich to pay. But I like the first quarter bet, so good call on that one.
Yeah, and that's what betting's about. You got to get that best angle,
Yeah. Last question for you. Just talking about, early season trends or early season teams that you kind of have your eye on, whether to target, whether to fade, based on last year, based on, as you mentioned, some off-season moves, some off-season changes, coaching changes, roster changes, any of that you're just kind of looking to, for people, this weekend, if they're watching these games, looking to bet on games, just some general teams that you're looking to fade or target.
Yeah, both actually. I mentioned already the Bucks. I think they're going to transition to an offensive team with Damian Lillard running the ball. I mentioned Frank Vogel, intensity. They're going to try to play good defense and control the clock as well. I think we need to fade just a little bit. We need to fade our guy V-Dub, man. I'm going to butcher his name, Victor Wembanyama, over there for San Antonio, man. I love San Antonio, as my in-laws are. Big basketball town, a lot of hype, and rightfully so. But man, he's being compared to Duncan, compared to Robinson. Robinson was already out of the Navy, grown man, 23 or 4. Tim Duncan spent 4 years at Wake Forest. This guy's coming straight in at 19. I think if you bet his over on like the blocks, the points, the assists, all that was under it all. None of that hit if you took the over. So let's just temper it. I love him. I think he's great for basketball. He's got the best coaching, but he's just a popular name in the media right now. And I feel like that encourages people to take the overs, which might inflate the line. So maybe think about the unders, but fade him from that perspective and from a fantasy perspective. Maybe get somebody else in there. Don't trust these rookies so early, first week or two.
Well, yeah, and last night we saw Wembanyama on national TV on ESPN, but he was stuck in foul trouble too. Yeah. I feel like that's what teams are going to be looking to do against him. Because he's a lanky guy. He's still kind of raw with his movement and all that. Like he could easily get in foul trouble moving forward a lot. Which, to your point, it's going to just really look at the unders on some of his props.
Yeah, I mean. That reach like the dude on Street Fighter, wow, like all the way.
See, I got that reference. I got Street Fighter before I got any of the NBA talk.
Yeah, bet what you know, Howard.
Bet what I know. There it is. 100%.
Love over here, though. It's not all bad now. It's not all bad.
I'm also smart enough to just call him Wemby and not have to even try to say his last name, right? That's like we all just say Giannis, right? Nobody's going Antetokounmpo.
Absolutely. I like V-Dub. I mean, I know it's France, not Germany, but there's the Europe connection. I just want to call him V-Dub, And plus, it's out here in the mountains already, so it's in my mind.
Awesome stuff. We got Gabe the Bay, by the way, on the YouTube chat saying San Antonio represent and Wemby built like Jack Skellington. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is until he puts some meat on there.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff, Iggy. If you haven't already, go follow Iggy Gilbert on Twitter at IDP Iggy. He's our Fantasy Alarm NBA betting guy, but he's doing a lot for multiple sports and has been for a while. So definitely check him out if you haven't already, and he'll be on Fantasy Alarm. We'll have you back on this show for sure, because if you keep cashing us these tickets, then why not?
Hey, man, put it to the bookies. We're all on the same team over here. I will be with Cooper on his show tomorrow on Fantasy Alarm, so looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, tune in there. Iggy, thanks so much, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds great, guys. Thank you for having me. Bet smart, be lucky.
Yeah, no worries.
Bet smart, be lucky. I like that tagline right there. Bet smart, be lucky.
Smart, be lucky. Yeah, he tags that on his articles I've seen. It's
damn, nice. I like that shit. Iggy. Well, I got to tell you, who hired that guy?
Oh, you're looking around? I don't know who.
I'd flex right now, but I don't want to rip this shirt. I got another show I got to do right now.
Speaking of that, we got to get out of here. But thanks for everyone jumping in on a Thursday afternoon. Awesome to have Iggy on and Howard on a Thursday show. Me and him will be back tomorrow giving out some NFL Week 8 bets and props coming up 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And if tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube, definitely check out the Fantasy Alarm Game Day Show with Coop and John and Pemba, and on the Bettor Sports Network YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern, the High Stakes Fantasy Football Show with Eric Balkman, and the Bettorcast going on tonight for Thursday Night Football as well. So definitely tune into all of that tonight, and we'll catch you guys on tomorrow's show. As Iggy says, bet smart and be lucky.
Smart, be lucky. I love that. Love that.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports